There comes a moment in every life when the silence gets louder than the noise. When the world around you dims, and the only thing echoing back is the sound of everything you avoided. Not a crisis. Not a phase. An awakening. You are not who you once were. And you will never be that version again. The body is changing. The energy is fading. But something deeper is rising. Clarity. And with it comes a choice. Either keep living on autopilot, or rewrite everything. If you're here, listening now, then you know the time for pretending is over. There's still breath in your chest. There's still fight in your soul. But there is no more time for lies. No more time for guilt. No more time for anyone who wants the old version of you to stay silent. So lean in. This is where it begins. Rule 1. Outgrow people quietly. You don't need applause for your evolution. You don't need permission to change. Some people were only meant for the version of you that didn't know better. And they won't understand the man or woman you are becoming. They'll mock the discipline. They'll downplay the growth. They'll call your silence distance, your peace arrogance. But that's not your concern. You're not here to convince them. You're not here to shrink back into a shape that fits their comfort zone. Growth is not a group project. You do not need their blessing. You need your own permission to rise. You don't have to argue with the past. Just stop feeding it. You don't have to cut people off. Just stop making yourself smaller to hold them close. A lion doesn't explain why it no longer walks with sheep. And neither should you. The people who belong in your next chapter will respect the strength it took to write a new one. Everyone else will fade. Let them. This isn't revenge. It's revelation. And from now on, you don't carry guilt for outgrowing a cage you were never meant to live in. And if this message reaches something inside you, if it shakes something that's been sleeping too long, let it breathe. Tap into it. Like the video. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs the same reminder. You're not done yet. Not even close. You're just waking up. And this time, you won't fall back asleep. There are 6 more truths waiting for you. But none of them matter unless you take this one to heart. Growth does not need witnesses. Only courage. There was a time you believed saying yes was love. That being agreeable meant you were good. That keeping the peace was worth more than keeping your soul intact. You gave your time to those who never earned it. You gave your energy to people who mistook your silence for weakness. You smiled through exhaustion. You said you were fine while quietly falling apart. And in all of that sacrifice, in all that appeasement, you hoped it would buy you love. But it never did. It bought expectation. It taught people how little they had to give and how much you were willing to lose. Every yes you whispered when your heart said no carved away your spirit. Not in one big wound, but in small invisible slices that no one noticed but you. You were told that boundaries are walls. But the truth is, boundaries are doors. Doors that only open for what is good for you, and shut to what is not. And you do not need to explain where your door is. You do not need to apologize for where it stays locked. There are people in your life who were only comfortable when you had no edges, no firmness, no voice. The moment you draw a line, they flinch. The moment you say no, they call you selfish. But you are not selfish. You are awake. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can prove me wrong, I will gladly change. For I seek truth, which never harmed anyone." But let's be clear, truth without self-respect is just surrender. And when you constantly shrink yourself to keep others comfortable, you betray that truth. Every yes you gave when your heart said no took a piece of you. Until one day you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the reflection. That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment. And no one is coming to rescue you from the results of the boundaries you refuse to set. Now you protect your peace like it is sacred ground. Now your no is not a question. It is not open for negotiation. It does not come with a paragraph or a performance. It just is. And if someone's love depends on your silence, it's not love. If their presence depends on your submission, it's not connection. It's control. There is a storm that rises inside when you first begin to stand firm. It feels like loss. It feels like you're being cruel. But that storm is not destruction. It's cleansing. You're clearing the space for something stronger to live there. Self-respect. Clarity. Power. You don't owe apologies for the standards that protect your well-being. You owe gratitude to the moment you finally honored them. Let them call you different. Let them say you've changed. That's what happens when you stop being a servant to someone else's comfort. That's what it looks like when you rise. You don't explain your boundaries. You embody them. You don't ask permission to protect your energy. You just do. And if that costs you company, so be it. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be whole. So draw the line. Hold the line. And walk the line like the future depends on it. Because it does. And if this rule woke something up in you, keep going. There are more truths ahead. But first, like the video, subscribe, and share this with someone who's always put everyone else first. This is your permission to stop apologizing. This is your invitation to begin again. Louder, clearer, and stronger. There was a time when your body forgave you. When you skipped sleep, it still pushed forward. When you fed it junk, it still carried you. When you ignored its signals, it stayed silent. But silence does not last forever. And now, the whispers have become roars. The aches have become alarms. The fatigue is no longer temporary. It is your body's final warning. After 40, the machine does not run on autopilot. It runs on intention. It runs on effort. You cannot keep spending your health like it is unlimited. You are not made of metal. You are flesh, bone, breath, and blood. You are fragile. You are powerful. But only if you take that power seriously. You were never taught to respect your body. You were taught to use it. To test its limits. To chase results. To punish it for how it looked. To neglect it for how it performed. But your body is not your enemy. It is not a punishment. It is not a project. It is your partner. The last home you will ever live in. And if you keep burning it down just to keep pace with a life that does not serve you, it will collapse. Not all at once. But in moments. In diagnoses. In missed chances. In energy that never returns. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action. Not through plans. Not through promises. But through movement. Through discipline. Through choices that honor the future instead of chasing the moment. Your joints tell stories now. Your breath comes shorter now. That is not defeat. That is clarity. That is your chance to course correct. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. One stretch. One glass of water. One walk outside when your mind says stay. Stack those wins. Lay the bricks. Build a body that can carry the man you are becoming. Because that man is not soft. That man is not lazy. That man does not make excuses. He does not hide from discomfort. He walks into it, breathes through it, and grows from it. You have seen the decline in others. You have seen what neglect turns into. And you are not immune. But you are still in control. You still have time. The body you build now will carry your purpose into the years ahead. Or it will collapse under the weight of everything you refuse to change. And that is not fate. That is choice. So choose wisely. This is not about a six-pack. It is about stamina. It is about presence. It is about being able to hold your grandchild and still breathe deeply. It is about standing tall without pain. It is about still having fire in your chest when the world expects you to slow down. You would never sleep in a house filled with fire. So why keep living in a body that begs for your help while you ignore it? This is your wake-up call. Reclaim your health with the same intensity you chase goals. Train like your breath depends on it. Because it does. Eat like your heart is listening. Because it is. Move like your future is waiting. Because it cannot wait much longer. The strength you need is not in some gym. It is in your decision to begin. Today. If this message reminded you of what you have been avoiding, honor that. Like the video. Subscribe. And send this to the person who always puts everyone else first but never takes care of themselves. This is not vanity. This is not ego. This is war. And your body is the battlefield. Protect it. Fuel it. Respect it. Because you are not done yet. You are just starting to move like you were meant to. Keep going. There comes a point where you stop begging to be understood. Not because you have given up, but because you finally understand something deeper. Some people are not listening to hear you. They are listening to respond. They are listening to twist. They are listening to weaponize your truth against you. And you have spent years trying to break through that wall. Years repeating yourself. Clarifying your tone. Softening your words. Not for your own peace, but for their comfort. And what did it give you? Nothing but more exhaustion. More confusion. More reasons to doubt your own voice. You do not owe your clarity to people who distort your peace. You do not owe your truth to those who turn it into ammunition. After a certain point, silence is not retreat. It is power. It is the refusal to argue with those who benefit from your confusion. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That line is not poetry. It is armor. You are not required to justify your discipline, your choices, your boundaries, or your transformation to anyone who never respected your journey. You have worked too hard to find your voice just to spend it shouting into the void. You have walked through too much fire to explain why you no longer flinch. The more you grow, the more they will accuse. The more you evolve, the more they will misunderstand. Because growth threatens comfort. Because clarity exposes everything they tried to bury. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them turn your stillness into stories. That is not your battle. That is their burden. You are not required to be digestible. You are required to be whole. There was a time when silence felt like a curse. When the absence of voices meant something was missing. When being alone made you question your worth. You searched for noise, for company, for anything to drown out the discomfort of being with yourself. But solitude is not emptiness. It is exposure. It strips away distraction. It takes everything that was hiding behind the crowd and brings it forward. And that is why most people fear it. Because when the room is quiet, the truth is loud. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He did not mean isolation. He meant presence. The kind that cannot be shaken by the absence of others. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a mirror. And if you look long enough, you start to see who you really are without the masks, without the noise, without the roles you were taught to play. Most avoid this because facing yourself is harder than impressing others. But the person who can stand alone and feel whole has already won a war most never even begin. You do not need an audience to matter. You do not need validation to move. You do not need permission to think deeply and walk your own path. When you sit in silence, you meet the parts of you that got drowned out. You remember your values. You reconnect with your vision. You sharpen your mind. Solitude is not what breaks you. It is what builds you. The man or woman who finds power alone is no longer controlled by the fear of rejection. They stop chasing noise and start creating clarity. Let the silence shape you. Let it show you who you are when there is nothing to perform. That stillness is not a pause. It is preparation. And the one who emerges from it does not need to be seen to know their worth. They are not lonely. They are anchored. They are not waiting. They are rising. Quietly. Fully. Without apology. There are parts of you that were built for survival, not success. Parts that learn to stay silent to avoid conflict, to smile through pain, to agree just to keep peace. That version of you helped you navigate certain storms. It kept you afloat when you didn't know how to swim. But now the storm is gone, and you are still living like the flood is coming. That old self that you keep clinging to is not strength. It is a shadow. And it is keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be. You do not owe your old identity eternal loyalty. Growth demands burial. You cannot carry every former version of yourself into the future. Some habits, some roles, some masks must be left behind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." That version of you that fears change, that avoids confrontation, that shrinks in rooms meant for your power, that version is now the obstacle. And the only way forward is to let it go. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means recognizing that what protected you back then is now preventing you. That people pleaser was born from a lack of safety. That silence came from fear. But today you are different. You are aware. You are awake. And that means you must release the impulse to be the version of yourself that others liked more than you ever did. You do not need to apologize for evolving. You do not need to grieve the comfort of staying the same. That comfort was a cage. Every time you act out of outdated fear, you keep feeding a ghost. You reinforce a story that no longer serves the life you want. Change feels like loss because it is. You are losing illusions, roles, comforts that kept you small. You will feel the grief. You will miss the simplicity of being unseen. But the weight of being unexpressed is heavier. Let it fall away. Let it all fall away. The anger, the guilt, the shame of who you used to be. You do not owe it another moment of your breath. The only obligation you have now is to who you are becoming. You were not born to be background noise. You were not made to wait by the phone, to chase silence, to shrink just to be seen. Yet how many times have you rearranged your life for someone who barely showed up? How many times have you made space for people who left you standing in it alone? You tell yourself they are busy. That they care in their own way. That maybe next time they will make you a priority. But they will not. Because people make time for what matters. And if you are always reaching out, always asking, always waiting, you already know where you stand. Your time is your life. And when you give it away to those who treat you like an option, you are not being kind. You are being careless with the most precious thing you have. Marcus Aurelius warned us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Stop wasting yours. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong people. The ones who want your presence will show it. They will not need reminders. They will not keep you waiting. You will not need to chase. You will just feel it in the way they choose you back. You are not hard to love. You are hard to manipulate. That is why they leave. Let them. When someone chooses distance, believe them. When someone is too busy, hear what they are not saying. You are not here to audition for someone else's attention. You are here to protect your energy like your future depends on it. Because it does. Your value does not decrease in their absence. It becomes clearer. The person who is meant to walk with you will never need to be begged. They will choose you without hesitation. Your time is not a test. It is a privilege. And it is time you treated it like one. If this reminder hit home, do one thing. Protect your time today. Then like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to stop chasing and start choosing themselves. Your life is not an option. It is the whole path. Walk it like you mean it.